Preoccupied. Hello, I'm Kathy with a K, radio broadcaster in Honolulu. Hawaii POV is a talk story series, Radio Music Hawaii. Island 98.5 has a series of programs throughout the week. And one morning I was driving in and I heard them doing some kind of drive-through psychic with Greg Stanley. This is Greg Stanley.
Hi, guys.
We're in November 2019 and it's just a real quick chat up. I love and I'm fascinated with ways to use a medium of cards, tarot or runes or whatever, and just trying to use that as a jumping off point to have a conversation about the energy in the world, because everything is possible.
That's right.
So Greg Stanley, where are you originally from?
I am originally from Canton, Ohio. That's where I was born, where the Pro Football Hall of Fame is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you a big football guy?
Not really. Not really, but everybody in Ohio and here in Hawaii is. Yeah, it was about 12 minutes away from where I grew up. I think I might have been there once for like a field trip when I was in third grade or something, but I barely remember it. Everyone's like, how come you didn't go to the Pro Football Hall of Fame? You're only like 12 minutes away. Well, it's the same thing as here in Hawaii. There's many people that haven't even been to Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
And they grew up here, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it took me to 2006 to go to a pipeline contest, you know, Triple Crown.
Yep.
Support sport, no matter where you are or any
absolutely.
activity. What brought you to our islands?
Well,
or now your islands.
Yes.
What brought us to, you know?
So this was about 7 years ago, a little more than 7 years ago. I came here to Hawaii to visit some friends that were on island. The second I saw the island from the airplane, I was looking out the window and I was like, oh my God, it's like I recognize it, like it's a familiar place. Like I've been here in a past life. And I was like, I'm moving here. And I landed and I just fell in love with this place, the energy, everything. What ended up happening was on my visit from day one, I would, run into people, meet people, ask what I did, and I told them I'm a psychic. And they're like, oh my God, can I get a reading? Well, they started telling all their friends and stuff like that. So I ended up working and playing on this trip.
Wow.
And I had people meeting me at McDonald's. I had people meeting me at Starbucks. I had people wanting just to meet me, do the reading, in their cars, things like that. And I was making money doing what I loved. And I was like, oh my God, now I know I can do this when I'm here. I went back to Ohio and I shipped my car over and I came back, 7 months later. A backpack and 2 suitcases.
Wow, that's traveling light. And
very
still,
much so.
very, very much so.
Yeah.
When you were growing up in Ohio, what brought you into the world of understanding, paying attention to signs and guides? And
I really didn't accept my psychic abilities or do anything with them until I was like 22, 23 years old. I had come out of the closet as a gay man when I was 20. And I swore I would never live my life in secret again. And this was the last part of me that I needed to embrace. 3 years later, I came out as a psychic. I came out of the psychic closet, and I actually got more hell for being psychic than for being gay. I was using tarot, and I was connected, instantly to the tarot. The second I opened up the tarot cards, it was like the whole world opened up to me. It was the key that unlocked the door to me being comfortable using my psychic abilities to help give me the confidence that I needed to further pursue my work, to help people. I always wanted to help people, and this was my avenue to help people. It accidentally turned into a business because I had to start charging for my time. Ended up becoming my life's work. I had no idea that this was what I would be doing for a living. If you would have told me 11 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago, that this is what I would have been doing, I would have laughed in your face and said, yeah,
what was
right.
life before? So it was like when you were 23, is that right?
Yeah.
When you did you established yourself as a psychic. Leading up to that, I guess your earliest recollections as a child or maybe a baby, that as you got older, like sometimes it dissipates, you know, for some, or they just repress it. You know, so it's like, I don't sense that over there kind of thing. How did you know, or who was around you to help you nurture that and say, you know, that may be something that you can get more information on, and let's see if we can make something that can be useful for you?
I was self-taught. I actually was completely alone in it because we had grown up in the church. My grandfather was a pastor. There was only Jesus, God, heaven and hell, and Satan, and fire and brimstone. You don't accept the Lord Jesus Christ, you're going to burn forever in hell and get the fire insurance while you can, you know. Anytime I would say I know something or I see something, they would say, no, you don't. Or, no, if you're really seeing something, it's not from God, it's from the pit. It's for the deceptive purposes and all that. So I was afraid of it then because I'm like, I don't want it to be from hell or from Satan. The earliest memory, psychic memory that I do have, I had drowned. So I was almost 3 years old. I had fallen in a pond. My sister ran to get help. And by the time they all came running down the hill, several minutes later, the only way they were able to find me was in the dark pond. Was I had bright blonde hair and the sun was shining on it, so they could see me. When they pulled me up, they thought they were like pulling up a dead kid, and I spit the water out and started crying. And nobody can explain how I lived. They didn't have to resuscitate me. They didn't have to, beat me on the back or anything like that. I remember falling in the water. I remember going underwater and opening my eyes, and I could see my sister standing at the side horrified, and then she took off running. Everything just turned black, and then I was floating above my body. I could see myself from aerial view, and I saw the people running down the hill. The next memory I have, I don't know if I opened my eyes underwater again or what, but I remember seeing all the people standing around the pond. I think they were trying to look for me. And when they pulled me up, I was outside of my body, and I don't know if that's what saved me. I can't explain it. Nobody can explain it. But that was my earliest psychic experience. This is hard for people to explain, but I have memories before I was born. I remember when I was born, and I told my mom who I heard, what I saw, who was in the room, and she said that's all true, and she never told me anything about that. And I told her who was talking to me. I told her there was a woman talking to me. She said that was your nurse Karen, and I was like, wow. And I remember it. But I remember even like prior to me being born, I could hear my mom's voice, and they were just like a little bits and pieces of things, but I remember hearing them pray for a safe delivery. I could hear my grandpa's voice, and she said that happened. I remember my mom was in church before she gave birth to me, and I remember hearing that, and it was a really, really hot day, and it turns out at that time in Ohio it was a drought.
When you're doing a reading with somebody, you're focusing your energy, and that's very tiring.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, just having a conversation, like sitting in a meeting, the worst. To have all these people who are funneling in to give you information, and then there's one person who's thinking all this stuff. How are you able to, sift through everything?
I just trust that the information that I'm reading, it's them or somebody they're connected to. I don't want to read myself. I'm being paid to read you. The angels know that. No, my stuff does not interfere because I specifically set that boundary with my abilities, with my angels. I just said, hey, I don't want to read me. I want to read Kathy, and even if you're like, I have no idea what he's talking about, you may not realize it till later, or it might be information about a family member and it perfectly describes their situation, past, present, future. Even though I was reading you, I may also pick up on some friends around your family, living and past. I have no control over that. So I only share what I truly see, and whether it's yes, no, maybe, that's how I read.
And this is a question a lot of people ask various mediums and people in your field. Can you ever turn it off?
No, but I can usually ignore it. I can kind of tune it out. It's sort of like the best way to describe it. It's if you go to somebody's house, the TV's on, you aren't paying attention to the TV, you're paying attention to something else. But if you want to pay attention to the TV, you tune into it. It's like the TV is always on.
When you discovered that it was something, this gift that you have, it's for good.
Yes.
It's always for good.
It's always for
helpful,
good.
And
Yeah.
if it's ever received as being hurtful, it's like you came to me and you're asking me
That's
for
right.
information, and your guides and their guides are
Sharing this.
sharing it in that language.
Yep.
How can you maybe suggest to people if they are in a point where, like you were saying, you're able to like have the TV on and just ignore it. If people maybe are not psychic, or maybe
Right.
they're more empathetic, or their intuitive nature, and they feel like there's a lot of noise for them, could you suggest ways that maybe that would help them to fine-tune that white noise?
Yes. So sometimes you just have to tell your angels and your guides, just say, hey, turn down the volume, turn this down a notch. And sometimes people want to turn it up, ask them to turn it up, and they will. Another thing you could do is when you have these abilities, acknowledge it. Don't try to fight it. Keep doing what you love anyways. You need to focusing on what you love, and even focusing on something that's not spiritually based at all. That will help. Grounding really helps as well. So, here in Hawaii, you can stick your feet in the ocean. You can even, those of you guys who are not in Hawaii, you can just envision yourself, your feet sinking into the earth, being protected, like kind of even envisioning yourself as a tree. Sometimes I'll stand on the ground and I'll put my two wrists together, and I envision myself being grounded into the core, to the core of the earth. That helps. Another thing that really helps is when I was saying that focusing on something that's not spiritual. My example is I watch Judge Judy. That's not spiritual at all. And that totally gives my brain that
scramble kind of. Yeah.
It gives me, I'm not focusing on anything spiritual. I'm just focusing on the law, Judge Judy and stuff like that. And it's funny, and that is not spiritual at all. And it totally gives me a break from the spiritual stuff. So it's my way of tuning that out and shifting my focus onto something else that could give my brain a rest period.
Your website is?
pscyhic.gregstanley.com. My business is Tarot Time Psychic Reading, so you can go to tarottimepsychic.com as well. It takes you to the same website. I do past, present, future, past lives, mediumship. I read pets. I read pets who have passed on. I share messages from your angels, past loved ones, pets, friends, whoever will come through. I have no control whether they're going to come through or not. Most of the time they will, and they usually bring people with them.
It's good to know that people are walking them even in
definitely.
the afterlife.
Yeah. Phone, FaceTime, Skype, email readings. I even read for deaf customers by just
ASL?
chatting. So I don't know
great.
sign language, but we type back and forth.
That's
And
awesome.
that's fine. They can read, so I do that. Works the same as in person. If you want to do in person, you can. You can, but if you do it over the phone, and it's a lower rate right now, so if to do it by phone or FaceTime, whatever you want to do, it all works the same. I give you the same information as I would be giving you, like I gave Kathy. So it's all about personal preference. So that's
What
where
you're
that is.
comfortable with.
Correct.
So when we started my reading, I had asked Greg, because I've gone through other sources, right? Each person who reads, they have a different style and
That's right.
a different presentation. So as just in general, what are the etiquette? What is your suggested etiquette for people who may be seeking a reading in person or on the phone that you could share that may be good for across the board for this kind of service?
For this kind of service and etiquette, so as a psychic, I have no control over your life. I have no control over what I see. I just tell you what I see. don't get mad at me if you see something that wasn't what you expected. If you ask, oh, is my relationship going to work out when it's all said and done? Are we still going to end up back together again? And if I see yes, I will tell you yes. But if I see no, I will tell you no. And don't get mad at me because of what I saw. You know what I mean? That's basically it. Like, don't take everything in our reading as for sure this is all going to happen. If you look for 100% perfection in anything, you're going to be disappointed. I do the best I can. I trust what I see, so I'm going to tell you what I see. But does a lawyer win every single case?
Does your favorite sporting team go to the playoffs?
Win every time, right? Does the doctor get everything 100% right? Nobody's perfect.
I wonder why that is. I mean, it's just the conditioning in general. Not everybody approaches it that way. But the expectation that, I do understand that's why you're asking for a suggestion. But that's really what it is. It's a tool in a tool chest of like many ways to approach how you're living your life, or for entertainment purposes. It's any service. Like
it's a guide.
It's a guide.
It's a guide, and you are in control of your own life. You can change whatever you want, do whatever you want. It's your life. Like I said, I can't control your life or what you do. There's been people where I say, hey, this is what I see, and they do the complete opposite, and they say, God, I wish I would have listened to you, but maybe they needed to learn something from that situation. It's their life, The one suggestion I do have, anyone that's going to any psychic medium or healer or anything like that, anybody that tells you you're cursed, there's a bad spirit following you, or your chakras are out of alignment, or they say somebody's playing black magic on you, and they ask you for $5,000 or additional money to do work. Even some of them promise to give you the money back after they're done doing the work. They say they'll remove it, or nothing good will happen, or if I do this work for $5,000, then burn this candle and do all these chicken bone dances and stuff like that, then he will come back into your life and stuff like that. When that happens, that is a scam. That is not legitimate, and that is not somebody that you can trust. Also, a psychic that only tells you what you want to hear and not what you need to hear, that's not good either. So a legitimate psychic will tell you what they see. They hope you don't get mad at them, but they can't control whether you do or you don't, but they're going to tell you what they really see, and then you do whatever you want. Life is in your hands. And so that's my suggestion there.
Yeah, no matter how many times you encourage and remind people, they forget.
Yeah, they do. Oh, yeah, they forget. I've had clients that have come to me for years and are like, Greg, I got desperate, and I talked to another reader and that's fine. You could talk to whoever you want. I'm not jealous. I don't tell people they can't see a psychic. People like to get second opinions, but she had went and got a second opinion from somebody, and she had told her, I need $800 to do the ceremony to make sure, it's just because this woman's coming back into your life, but I have to break the curse and blah, blah, blah. She gave the lady the money, and of course nothing happened, and got ripped off, you know what I mean? But she had to learn, hey, you can't control somebody else. You can't make somebody love you. You can't make somebody come back into your life. You want somebody that wants you for you because they want to be with you, not because you're forcing them or you're manipulating them. That never gets you anywhere. So, yeah.
That's super good.
Yeah.
I don't want to make him late for his next appointment.
No, it's okay. It's totally fine.
This was really good because I enjoy getting readings. Great energy. Go to his website. His website gives you more information about how to approach a reading and the different pay scales and rates. Yep. And, you can make an appointment, but, just have it bookmarked, because maybe sometime in the future somebody will come to you and it's like, gee, I've always wanted to get a psychic reading. And you'll be like, this cat, seems like a good egg. Try it out. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's great. Aloha, love and light, guys.